Hey friends, so I wanted to jump back on here, and I just kind of felt a nudge or perhaps inspiration to lean into a little bit. So like in my last message, as I kind of went back and looked at that, I noted that, you know, with that mountaintop, there was that the crumbling, right, was not like immediately under the feet, right? It was further down into like the core of the mountain. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So to me, that's like core, something really internal, and could be being reflected externally in terms of collapse or change. But that shift, I feel like always it's internal first, right? You know, sometimes it's external and we have to adapt, but oftentimes it's the internal first. And so it almost seems like, okay, it's like what version of self, what stories, what about us in our lives, you know, is kind of crumbling from within, you know, which always presents the opportunity for healing and integration, yada yada yada, right? And there's part of me that's like, oh man, I wonder if there's any additional support around that, you know. And I know the message at the time was also, you know, that you're going to know things as you need to know them. And I guess I almost want to dive into it for anyone that may have a little bit more of anxiety around that, just to see if there's anything. So I'll do like a little channeling there, but I felt the inspiration, so figure let's go for it and just see what's up, if that resonates for anyone. Well, I'm using the Green Witch's Oracle deck again. All right, who's this by? Arin Murphy-Hiscock. Yeah, illustrated by Sara Richard. Okay. So let's see. If anyone wants to know, I hear cut in half, choose 7. If that's curious for anyone. Then I wait, have a blank slate, like, is that really? And then it's like, yep, it's there. All right, so let's see what we got. See what wants to come out. Mushroom. Recycling and breaking problems down. Love that. Recycling and breaking problems down. I mean, immediately, I'll read from the book, but immediately I get 2 things, which is some of this collapse is like a breakdown of, like, they might be like kind of consequences in a sense of like just like the breakdown of problems, but also like it's helping, like this collapse is actually like solving the problems, like it's breaking down the problem. Love that for us, for you, everybody, I guess. All right, let's see. Mushroom 47. Card meaning: a mushroom's main purpose is to aid in decomposition. Well, I'd say that's pretty fitting, considering the crumbling at the core. They use enzymes to break down decaying organic matter, feeding themselves in the process. Ooh, love that. Mushrooms and other fungi are also part of the greater, mycelial network, a vast interconnected network of hair-like roots that transfers information to not only other fungi, but plants and trees as well. Love that connection, that communication. Okay. Those roots. I'm thinking then immediately, I'm thinking like about like a tree too, and just thinking of like, you know, where like this collapse that's in the mountain, but then like potentially like what types of like roots are actually like reaching out to like other mountaintops and like are giving this information. The mushroom card supports you as you break down problems into smaller issues and work to solve them separately to make incremental advances in life. That's perfect, because in the last reading it was talking about finesse and moving gently. It was mortar and pestle. It was a breakdown. I mean, oh well, it's not still sitting there. That's perfect. It was a breaking down to help with the blending, to help with the balance, to help with the integration. Okay, so yeah, really doing this in like a bite-sized way seems to be beneficial and advantageous. The discoveries you make with every step forward can be used to nourish and enrich future projects. I love that with the discovery you make in every step forward. Considering, sorry, that's loud. Considering that one of the channeled messages that we got towards the end of the last reading was that like you're going to be provided like everything like one step at a time, and then you're going to know what you need to know. I feel like this is an affirmation of that, and hopefully can bring a little bit of like peace, a little bit of solace to like what this process is, you know, despite its difficulties. And then the reflection says, have you run into a challenge that may be best addressed if broken down into smaller pieces? Love that. Like, yeah. Yep, that's how we do it. So let's see if there's anything else. Mushroom energy. That's it. Just remember to breathe. Movement, water, sunshine, walking, taking care of the physical body during this time. The joy, celebrate the joy. Just these anchors that help to get through, you know, really tough times like these, if that's what you're going through, or whatever it is. Even if it's not like, you know, the whole life, but an aspect that seems particularly challenging. There's no rush. Everything in balance. Seems like definitely another balanced message. And I think that's the thing, right? Like, this is an integration. And if we go back to some of the readings from like the beginning, you know, a number of weeks ago, with that new 36-year cycle, remember, like, when I started doing these readings, these videos, it was setting a foundation for the next 36 years, right? And so a lot of breakdown, a lot of truth telling, a lot of authenticity and honesty, you know, a lot of shifts and changes, you know, to really solidify this kind of, you know, this new foundation, right? That collapse always allows for a new foundation once that dust settles, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, it's like that ashes, that death and rebirth type of thing. So it's all part of it, you know. And maybe even that could be a helpful perspective, you know, to look at it like some aspects of what you might be going through, it really is a death of something, you know. And so taking into account the depth of emotion, and that emotional process that comes with that, the magnitude of that, the grieving that comes with that, like I said, just the range of emotions, and you know, it just gives perspective to the magnitude of it and to the difficulty of it, you know, and how these other pillars of support and joy and connection are really helpful, and and moving the body and taking care of your body, you know. And we're all doing it together, you know, that network. We're all sending each other that information and those messages as we all navigate through this journey. Okay, feels complete. Awesome. So again, appreciate the likes, subscribes, comments, anything you got to throw my way. If it resonated, only truth, you know how we do. All right, cool. Here for you in whatever ways I can be. All right, y'all. Stay blessed. Talk to you later.